The camera opens on an elegant rooftop party in Manhattan. String lights flicker against the skyline, and jazz hums beneath clinking glasses. A photographer pans across the polished faces of Hollywood's elite. At the center, Ryan Reynolds raises his glass to a radiant Blake Lively. It's spring 2025, and the couple has just been named among Time magazine's 100 most influential people. A waiter offers a tray of flutes. Guests whisper congratulations. Cameras flash. Everything glitters, but not everything is gold. Across town, a journalist sits in a dim office, her fingers paused over a keyboard. The Time cover rests on her desk. Ryan, in a designer suit, Blake in soft-lit perfection. A sticky note tacked to the magazine reads, "Bought." She presses play on a leaked voicemail, her brows knitting as she listens. "Just make sure the timepiece drops the week after the Baldwin mess quiets down. We need the optics clean." Cut to black. A beat, voiceover. They were America's favorite couple, until people started asking why. Now, a montage begins. Quick shots, a 2019 donation receipt from Blake to the NAACP, a party invitation, with the Salesforce logo, a blurry photo of Ryan with Ari Emanuel, the names blur into the same circles. Power, influence, the same glossy loop. A media pundit speaks directly to camera. "Look, we've all seen PR spin before, but this was different. This was a machine." As Blake takes the stage, at the Time 100 gala bathed in red velvet, light rumors are already moving through industry emails. Was this about a career highlight? Or a distraction? Because behind the applause, something is unraveling, and Hollywood is watching. A week after the Time 100 gala, the smiles have faded. An anonymous post appears on a blind item gossip site. Names, just hints. Golden couple buys good press to bury something bigger. Within hours, Reddit threads explode. Twitter timelines fracture. People begin to connect the dots. Not just Blake's old NAACP donation, but Ryan's company, Maximum Effort, recently added 2 Time's most influential companies. The timing isn't just suspicious, it's strategic. Cut to a boardroom in Los Angeles. A studio executive drops a printed email on the table. They dropped $1 million into this campaign. Not 1 cent went to storytelling or production value, just image, just optics. The producers nod quietly. One mutters, "They're losing the room." Back on the East Coast, publicists argue behind closed doors. Do we support them or not? A young woman says, nervously watching the numbers tank. People are unfollowing. Even Margot won't return Blake's texts. A silence. They've lost Zend. That lands like a gavel. Meanwhile, Time magazine's editorial staff is split. One longtime writer threatens to quit. This was supposed to be about influence, real influence. Not who can write the biggest check, but the higher-ups shrug. It's not personal, it's business, and it's working. Outside the studio system, in YouTube commentary channels and TikTok tea rooms, the backlash becomes wildfire. One creator posts a side-by-side, Blake's award for a 2019 donation. Ryan's Time cover amid the Justin Baldwin silence. The caption reads, "It's giving distraction, it's giving damage control." And then the pushback begins. From inside their own world, a major fashion house pulls Blake's campaign. A brand deal for Maximum Effort is put on hold. Someone close to Emma Stone leaks a quiet truth. She backed out of a deal because they're not who they pretend to be. In public, Blake smiles. Ryan jokes on Twitter. But something is wrong in the way they hold each other's hands now. Not for love, for control, for image, and behind them, the studio doors begin to close. The murmurs grow teeth. An assistant to one of Hollywood's most powerful agents leaks a call log. Names blurred, times visible. It was scheduled months before the awards. With Time, with Salesforce, with Aries people. The file is quietly shared among journalists. Not for publication, not yet. But the industry is watching. And the silence. Is breaking. At a private brunch in Malibu, an actress once photographed, laughing with Blake at Cannes, refuses to sit at her table. She says nothing, just walks by, expression unreadable. Blake watches, blinking hard behind oversized sunglasses. Ryan gets the text that night. She's out. Even she's out. Across town, in a dimly lit hotel lounge, a former Time contributor clinks a glass and mutters to a producer, "We used to fight for integrity. Now we're just another platform for the well-connected." The producer nods. "You think they'll recover?" A long pause. They bought the spotlight. Now they're getting burned by it. And at the center of it all, Justin Baldwin. He never comments publicly, never claps back. But he doesn't have to. Hollywood insiders are calling him the moral counterweight to Blake and Ryan's manufactured narrative. A slow but steady tide of support gathers behind him. Directors, crew, civil rights groups, A-list stars who once posed with Ryan now appear. In quiet support of Baldwin, a clip goes viral. Margot Robbie, at a press junket. A reporter asks, offhand, about Blake. Margot pauses. Looks dead into the camera. "We all have choices. Some people choose strategy. I choose honesty. That's it. No names, no follow-up." but it detonates online. Back in New York, the couple's publicist is pacing. Another brand deal evaporates. A marketing director withdraws. One fashion house replaces Blake with Zendaya in a campaign. The silence is now suffocating, and the next wave is coming. An expose is in development, a long-form investigative piece, backed by sources inside the Time organization, now questioning the ethics of its editorial board. One line from a draft. When journalism becomes a receipt, trust becomes a casualty. Ryan reads a line in his home office. He says nothing, but something shifts in his face. The smirk wavers. Blake appears in the doorway. "They're not done with us," she says quietly. "No," Ryan replies. "They've only just started." The whisper campaign becomes a roar. On a Thursday morning in June, an anonymous industry whistleblower uploads a heavily redacted email chain to a decentralized leak site. The file is simple, 5 pages, no names, just initials, but the implication is clear. PR firms, marketing executives, and a certain magazine appear to be exchanging favors for exposure. It trends under one word: bought. The backlash reignites like dry brush catching flame. Podcasts dissect every detail. Media watchdogs call it a clear violation of editorial independence. Former Time editors begin to comment, not publicly, but in encrypted texts to trusted journalists. One message reads, "This wasn't recognition. This was a trade." Meanwhile, across LA, at a quiet studio lot, Ryan Reynolds walks off a soundstage. His smile flickers when he's asked about the report. No comment. He says with practiced ease, but his body language betrays a flicker of tension. He turns before the next question comes. It's the first time the press doesn't follow him with laughter. To silence. And in a boardroom at a luxury brand's headquarters, executives go over mock-ups. Blake's face is on a digital ad campaign. A VP scrolls, then stops. "Pull her quietly," before it hits shelves. She's replaced before the press release goes out. At a private industry mixer in Beverly Hills, a junior writer overhears to agents discussing Ryan and Blake like stock crashing in real time. "I'd had 3 studios ask me the same thing this week," says one. "Are they radioactive now?" The other laughs. "They're not radioactive, they're just ... predictable. And that's worse." Across town, a video quietly uploads to a mid-level YouTube channel. A behind-the-scenes crew member recounts working with Ryan. "He's fine." The woman shrugs, "But it always felt like he was performing, even when we were just setting up shots. You could feel the calculation in the room, like ... The smile wasn't for you. It was for whatever camera he thought was watching." The clip gains 1.2 million views in 2 days. Even the smallest voices are growing louder. Meanwhile, Justin Baldwin walks a red carpet for an independent film premiere. He's not flashy. No entourage, just handshakes, brief interviews, and warmth. Reporters ask if he has any comments on the Time magazine situation. He declines, politely, but that restraint only amplifies the contrast. In the court of public perception, the jury is swaying. And the final blow that week, a leaked memo from a major streaming platform reveals that a new film starring Blake Lively has quietly been shelved temporarily. The note says, "Pending market climate." Behind the scenes, executives are in damage control. They're not mad at the scandal. They're mad it wasn't cleaner. They're mad it made them look complicit. And Ryan, he calls a meeting. Just him and his PR team. "We need a pivot," he says, voice low. "Something real." But someone finally speaks up. "You've spent so long curating. I don't think they believe you anymore." A redemption arc. Quiet, tasteful, grounded. The kind of campaign that would have played flawlessly 5 years ago. Ryan's team floats it during a closed-door session at CAA. A series of charity appearances. A surprise hospital visit. Maybe even a low-key documentary about fatherhood. But something has changed. No one bites. "They'll see right through it," says one publicist. "You can't stage real anymore, not after this." Meanwhile, Blake tries a different approach. She reaches out to an old friend, not an agent, not a stylist, but a former assistant who once stood by her through the height of Gossip Girl fame. The call is awkward, stilted, but she ends it with a question that sounds more like a plea. "Was I always like this?" The assistant doesn't answer right away. Back online, the conversation continues to spiral. A side-by-side graphic goes viral. One column, listing every major accolade Ryan and Blake have received in the past 2 years, the other detailing the PR payments tied to each one. The caption is devastating. "Influence does not equal integrity." Former collaborators begin to echo the sentiment. One screenwriter tweets vaguely, but pointedly, about an unnamed actor who couldn't stop workshopping his likability. Mid-scene, it gets 200,000 likes in 6 hours. Everyone knows who she meant. And then there's the podcast. A leaked voice recording hits Reddit like a thunderclap. A marketing exec, slurring slightly at a party, laughs into a microphone. "Yeah, we bought time. You didn't know. It's all for show. It's all for show." The backlash is instant. Furious, Ryan's name trends for the wrong reasons again. Blake's Time honor is dissected on late-night TV. A host jokes apparently Blake Lively is one of the most influential people of 2025, and I too am Time's most handsome man of the century, because I once donated to a fundraiser. In 2003, the crowd laughs. But Ryan doesn't, because he's watching at home, in a living room that feels a little too clean, a little too curated. Even now, Blake walks in. They don't speak, just sit. The silence between them is louder than the headlines. On her phone, a news alert, another brand drops her. On his A-group text thread, once full of emoji reactions and inside jokes, has gone quiet. A second alert, Justin Baldwin has been cast in a new Netflix series. Produced by Ava DuVernay. There is no mention of Ryan or Blake. The king and queen of clever have been outplayed for the first time in years. They're not holding the camera. They're the story now, and the story is getting away from them. A-list, charity gala. The kind Blake used to host, flawlessly. This time, her name isn't on the guest list. Not as speaker, not as honoree. Not even as a seat filler. Her stylist checks twice. They said it was a numbers issue. But they both know the truth. Don't know? One wants the scandal at their table. Ryan's PR team meets quietly in a windowless suite in Midtown. No devices, just printed packets, analytics, brand sentiment graphs, and internal memos marked confidential. Crisis escalation. The numbers are brutal. Mentions are up, but so is negative sentiment to 72% disapproval in key demographics. Gen Z thinks he's fake funny. Millennials feel betrayed. The PR rep leans back, exhausted. It's not that they stopped liking him, she sighs. It's that they stopped trusting him. Meanwhile, Time magazine issues a terse statement. We stand by our editorial process, it reads. But they don't deny the payments. They don't confirm them either. The lack of denial is enough to send Twitter into meltdown. Underneath the statement, someone posts a screenshot from Ryan's old interview. Authenticity isn't a strategy. It's who you are. The irony doesn't need explanation. Blake tries to pivot. She schedules a surprise appearance at a small women's entrepreneurship conference in upstate New York. Low press. Minimal branding. Real stories. Real people. But when she arrives, she finds her panel has been canceled. Quietly, without notice. One organizer pulls her aside gently. We had sponsors drop out. I'm sorry, it's not personal. But of course it is. Even her attempts to reclaim the narrative are read as performance now. Across the coast, Justin Baldwin walks a red carpet, his first in over a year. The cameras flash. He says little, just smiles. A journalist asks about the controversy. His answer is calm, composed, and final. I just believe in letting the work speak for itself. The subtext is deafening. At home, Ryan scrolls. His group chats are silent. Even the other funny guys, the actors he once did tequila shots with between takes, have fallen quiet. Some have others have just faded. He opens Instagram, sees Margot Robbie's story, a photo from set. Laughing with crew, authentic, effortless, real. Then he checks Maximum Effort's brand account. The comments are filled with clown emojis and long threads dissecting his every post. A few loyal fans try to defend him, but their voices drown under the chorus of disillusionment. Blake sits across the room. Eyes on her phone, she doesn't look up. They're both in the same house, but it feels like different planets. There's a knock on the door. Ryan answers. It's a courier, a plain manila envelope, hand-delivered. No logo, no fanfare. Inside, a letter. It's not from a fan. Not from a friend. It's from a producer. One he worked with early on. Someone who once called him the next Clooney. The note is short. We're pulling the option. We can't justify the risk right now. Wishing you and your family peace. Ryan sets the letter down. He doesn't say a word. Across from him, Blake stares at her phone. She just got the same email. The sun sets over a quiet, sterile beach in the Hamptons. No cameras, no stylists. No stylists, no staged matching outfits, or Instagram-worthy family shots. Just two people sitting far apart on a bench they once shared in a photo shoot for Architectural Digest. Ryan stares at the water. He hasn't touched his phone in hours. First, Blake scrolls through comments on a charity post that's gone. Sideways, again, the top comment reads, "This is not the redemption arc you think it is." They don't speak much anymore. Not about PR, not about movies, not about brand deals. There are no projects left to manage, no launches, no red carpets, just the stillness of consequence. The calls have stopped. The invitations never arrived. The agent who once negotiated $15 million fees now won't answer texts. Even the publicists have gone quiet, like rats sensing a ship is beyond saving. For the first time in years, there is no plan. No calendar filled with meetings, no stylists buzzing in the hallway. No assistants whispering crisis protocol, just silence. They thought they were untouchable, that their charm, their wit, their curated relatability could bend public perception like light through a lens. But the world changed. The audience got smarter. The performance started to crack. And once the illusion shattered, there was nothing behind it but two people who overplayed their hand. Blake looks at Ryan. What do we do now? Ryan doesn't answer right away. For once, there's no punchline. No smirk. No clever spin. Maybe, he says, almost too quietly to hear. We stop trying to be liked. And for a moment, that idea, that terrifying foreign idea, sits between them like a truth they never considered. There's no comeback planned. No redemption tour announced. No tearful documentary to reframe their image. Not yet. They sit in the dusk as the tide rises, silent, anonymous, ordinary. The lights have dimmed, the curtain has fallen, and the audience has moved on. Fade to black.